I want to, first of all, thank Mel and Dom and Write for Word and Carl, who's put in some work here tonight, for actually putting this on and getting us out on the first night that we're allowed to come out here in Wales. So thank you to all them, and thanks also to Mervyn Linford, who is here on the Zoom from the east side of England. He's the guy who had faith in this book and published it under his Littoral press banner. So thank you, Mervyn, and we look forward to hearing from you later too. So there are many threads in this book, many little narratives, all foregrounded by the nature and wildlife of Carmarthen Bay, which is where I've lived for more than half my life now. That's quite a long time. So, as this is our first live event for so long, and there's a sense of emergence and transition into something new, I thought I would take that thread from the book. It's quite a strong thread in the book, and use that tonight to decide what to read for you. So, the idea that life began in the sea and some creatures transitioned to land, and then some mammals have transitioned from, some species have transitioned from land back to sea. That's very important to me as a swimmer who loves being in the water. I feel that sense of origin and movement very personally. And I'm definitely a sea creature. But also in the book is a character called Sybil. She's a mystical character that I created with a little help from Heraclitus. We won't go into that now. To tell her own stories of sea life and transition to land and beyond. Sorry, I'm having slight trouble with the light.
He's useless as torchbearer.
Oh, he's great. He wouldn't be able to do it without you. So anyway, one of the themes running through is the thread of transformation. And that's the thread I'm following tonight. So, first of all, I'm just going to read 2 little poems now, 2 more at the end of the first half, 2 at the beginning of the second, and 2 at the end, very end. So I hope you'll all stay. This is where I come from. Many far back years, deep under ocean, down in dark, only other creatures bring light. No sun there, where I come from, me. Beasts swim with wings, glow tentacles reach out, jelly skirts pulse, fins make flash bright beams. If no beings, no light, only black, see nothing but fish. Fish, they glow where I come from. It's quite interesting reading that when I have to have a thought.
I was thinking
that as I was reading it. And this is I Am Water. When sun is harsh in afternoon, I kneel, scoop up cool water in cupped palms. How fresh and full in throat, going down I pull it in, feel cleanness, greenness, fill all cells in body. And lake reaches, sucks me into herself, folds my heart in her currents, where somehow I breathe, move freely, and wonder where I come from, where I will go. Swim wild, allow lake to swallow me into its peace. Tiny fish flicker silver around naked flesh. Water murmurs secret stories, makes music flow over body and into me. My beginning and ending. Place of depart and return, to and fro, lapping the shore, sipping me, wanting me more. Where I come from, where I will go. So Transformation. Leaving oceans below, we climb out of flowing waves, breathe air, grow limbs, traverse some in-between space where we swim from sea towards sky. From green through blue shadow, we seek earthfall. We are jade, and we will find a new way. We will bring you pearls. Yes, we will. So Sybil comes out of the sea. She emerges. And this is a poem of me imagining what it might be like to be the person who comes, or the creature who comes out of the water and stands on the beach for the first time. Landfall. Exposed, scared, emerging first time from sea onto shifting sand. Try to stand. Worse than bad dream when you see yourself naked on a big beach and all others wear clothes and stare. Skinned like rabbit on a spit, furless, vivid flesh, muscles tight over bones. Want to run back, let ocean fold me in herself again, but that way closed. New skin begin, slowly spread on my raw body, from belly to limbs, to fingers and toes, creep over breasts and neck, to face, grow over all of me. Don't know how long I stay, watching this cover fall. Maybe many days. And with skin grows knowing, me sure, must leave my sea for all time. We've moved from the sea onto land, and we're learning to live on land. This poem comes from my yoga practice, really. It's called Vriksasana, which is the Sanskrit word for tree pose. I'm not going to demonstrate to you tree pose now, except to say that it involves standing on one leg with your hands in the air, which I can do quite well, but not when I'm being looked at. So this is Vriksasana. Feet sink into ground. Earth crumbles between toes. Dark and warm, mineral scents rise as I soil delve beneath forest floor, where it's earthy, but not earthly. How beautifully slow our gradual growth as we lumber our days, our intertwined roots foraging among foundations. We measure seasons here, not days or hours. My body extends in spring, lifts through the midline, centered and steady in the core, where energy moves up my long spine and branches lengthen as hands reach towards light. Leaves tremble, fresh green, flutter in morning air. Fruits swell in summer days as flesh ripens. Roots plunge deeper until the rains come and we relax, sap slacken into lingering time. We are steadfast in westerly gales, durable in northeasterlies, as unhurried leaves become russets and aubens, rustle, fall and fly, and our cells rest into the dark days, in the still of coldness and unseen sleep. Thank you. My second poem in this section is one when it
was first published, which was quite a long time ago. It first came out in 2017 in the Halloween special published by Three Drops from Cauldron. And it got nominated for a Pushcart Prize. It was the only time I've been nominated to a Pushcart, and I was on the ceiling for a day or two, so particularly like this one. And again, we're talking change and transformation. And a lot of the names in here might be a bit strange to you, but they're all different types of moss or lichen. This is skin. A tiny sip of lichen slips through skin and creeps slow towards her wrist. Algae emerge from the pearlicue web. Epidermis writhes into green between the index and the next finger. Moss extends over the backs of her hands, a soft velvet caress across her desiccated skin. Anchored by rhizoids, this slithering layer seeps out through pores, spreads like verdigris, a tight-fitting glove. Around hair roots, keratoodon begins, small and tight, and soon she is crowned with a mass of fire, red and fertile in spots of light. Orange embers glow under the forest canopy. Liverwort breeds in the fosse above her clavicle and tracks towards Marcantia in the jugular notch. Below, cladonias sprout their tiny umbrella organs across her cleavage. Mood moss, wispy while dry, is verdant and lush when moist between her legs. Spores spread. She flourishes. Her nails gleam with gloss from thorax of bluebottle. Her black eyes glisten, reflect the green sheen of a magpie's nape. Wet leaves around her grow cold, slick in the shade. An odor of rot from rank weeds touches the ends of her olfactory nerves. Her mouth waters. She ripens out of the earth as something else, something vivid. I've come back to my beach now. This is Night in a Beach Cave. Is that better? Yeah, Night in a Beach Cave. I'm in there, I'm waiting for something. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think I might be waiting for the planet to be healed. I think that might be the feeling behind it, really. While I wait, grains of sand trickle over skin, surround all my body as I sink into the hollow. Rocks settle around me and creak into comfy darkness. Water bleeds from hanging walls, drips slow down slopes. Rocks pleat into the push and shove of sedimentary beds. Flow-folded plates displaced into intense creases of stress, deformation, compaction. A small fissure makes a flag of sky as night edges away, grows colder outside. Waves thunder onto shore, and as I bury deeper, they shush and dispel to meet a horizon where light catches sea breath. At last, dawn arrives, sailing over the brink to where I sigh in the dark. And finally, the very last poem in the book. I've got a little story running in my head about the last poems in the book, because the last poem in my first collection kind of gave an indication of where the second collection might go. It was a poem about love. My second collection is all about love, breakfast in bed. In one way or another, it's all about love. the final poem in Breakfast in Bed was very much related to the sea. And then you get this, which is all related to the beach and the sea, natural world. I'm not quite sure where this one goes. We'll see. Onwards. Soft sand massages feet. Cold, cold sea laps seared skin. And soft and salt seasons lips. At the world's wild edge, where lungs wrap around pure air, breathe all the way into toes. Sun sparks on wave tops, light refractions weave gold below, while oyster catcher whistles coast over a clear view to Anisenkli, across the wide of the bay. And surf swells to lift all the weight of the world's water to carry me away. Thank you very much.
Lovely, thank you very much. Firstly, I'd just like to say, after working on Before We Breathe with Jackie for so long, and then publishing her book, it was wonderful to hear the poet read her own work. It only reinforced my view of the quality of the work. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Jackie. All I want to do is just read a couple of poems to do with the month of May, as it's sort of Beltane and Walpurgis and the rest of it. They're just short poems. They should take less than 3 minutes. The first one is called May the 5th. Where my lady friend lives, my partner I've been with now for 40 years, near the Thames estuary, the bird, the swifts, seem to come almost on the same day every year, May the 5th. So that's the first one I'd like to read, May the 5th. The arrival of the swifts. For days I've watched nothing. And yet there they are, 5 on the evening air, curved into substance by the thought of summer. Cuneiform on blue papyrus, fluent with contrast. All night they'll fly, ink to the sky's ink, lost to the liquid of the leaching stars. Tomorrow, when the flowers wake, when the words of fragrance climb on the voices of the warming earth, they'll underline the languages they make, screech over paper like a nib that scratches. And this next one is just called When. There's a certain river I've been fishing for over 60 years now, and there is a church right on the riverbank with a graveyard that runs right down to the river. And this is just a poem I wrote about that particular graveyard in spring. When I walk through the graveyard to the river's bank, between the tilted headstones heavy with lichen and the rusted iron crosses leaning at irreverent angles, I'm thankful only for the lack of care, for the red dead nettles sprawling in their purple vestments, for the blue-eyed speedwell turning its iris to the lifting sun, and for the trees above me spreading their fleeces to the dove's syllabic. Thank you.